Hey, folks, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, October 23rd. The Pittsburgh Steelers have their second practice of Week 8 against the Green Bay Packers. Practice at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex today. I'll be there along with Brendan Howe and Ed Thompson for more Steelers coverage. Talk to a good number of Steelers players on Thursdays usually, so it should be entertaining. Lots more coverage there at SteelersNow.com and here on the Afternoon Drive in your YouTube feed and your audio platforms with Smitty, 6 o'clock. Hopefully 6 o'clock. Steelers got their injury report out a little bit late yesterday, pushed everything back. Felt like my whole rest of my day was thrown off. It happens. Today I want to answer a question who Branson Slaby Seconds has now asked twice, so I feel like the determination is paying off here. He wants to know why is it that the same guy that does punt returns does not also do kick returns? Why are there basically two kinds of return men? And this is largely true across the rest of the NFL, not just the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are some teams that have the same kick returner and punt returner, but that is relatively rare. Most of the time you have two different people, and it's because the jobs require two different kinds of athletes. If you think about a punt returner is going to catch the ball with the gunners basically on top of them. So the first thing a punt returner is going to have to do is have shiftiness. They got to be able to juke, move in some way to make the first guy miss. Okay. And then once they make that first guy miss, the rest of the team is going to be basically on top of them. So they're going to have to accelerate very quickly to top speed. Like it's going to be catch, spin move, start running, right? Or catch, little shifty juke, go this way, start running. So so the physical attributes you need from a punt returner are shiftiness and acceleration. Those are first and foremost. A lot of times punt returners are shorter guys. It's easier for a shorter guy to be shiftier. The shorter levers are easier to move quickly, right? So the short legs, it's a lot easier to be shifty. Calvin Austin, perfect punt return body. Keyshawn Williams, same. Scotty Miller, same. Like these are guys that are short and shifty and then have good acceleration, right? Not every short guy has good acceleration. Smitty. But that's what you want, right? You want quick acceleration to a max speed, and you want the shiftiness to make the first guy miss. On a kick return, and I'll kind of separate into like historically and now because it's a little bit different. Historically, the job of a kick returner is to have a high end speed, because when you catch the ball at your goal line, the return men are still 30 yards away. So you have a long time to get to your top speed. So the top speed of a kick returner is more important than the acceleration, right? You want the long speed. So you actually usually want a taller player because it is easier for a taller player to have long speed because they have long strides, right? It takes them longer to get going, but they have a higher long speed. That is usually how the physics of athletics work. There are people who are freaks that are better at it one way or the other for whatever reason, but that's generally how things go. And then at the other end of that top speed, so you are getting to top speed and the other player is already at top speed before you get together. So there is going to be a massive collision between the defender and the return man. And so you need a player who is strong and tough enough to survive these massive collisions, which again generally means a bigger guy. For my buck, Rod Woodson's one of the best kick returners I've ever seen. He was a big, strong, 205-pound cornerback, right? That's what you're looking for in a kickoff returner. You want a guy who can get to his top, who has a high top speed. The acceleration doesn't matter that much. Just get there in those 20 yards and then be able to survive and hold on to the football, full speed collisions with big defensive players. You do not want your short leg, shifty, 170-pound punt returner out there getting just flattened by 245-pound linebackers. Somebody else's Malik Harrison flying downhill from a standing start 40 yards the other direction, 60 yards the other direction, and just hammering him. He's going to go flying like Sonic the Hedgehog. The ball comes out and you lose. So you need a bigger guy on kickoffs. Now, the new kickoff rule, I don't actually think the NFL has figured out what the right kind of kick returner is, to be perfectly honest. It has really changed the dynamic in terms of what makes for a good return man. That is obviously true. You no longer need that big run up to top end speed, right? You don't have it. They're only 25 yards away at most. You also don't need to be able to survive that incredible collision. That's one of the reasons they changed the kickoff rule. Too many guys were getting hurt, right? So they've reduced the importance of being able to be a big, strong, tough guy who can take it. I mean, a lot of times when the Steelers didn't have a very good kickoff returner, they just put a running back there because even if he wasn't very fast, he wouldn't fumble and he could, handle the collision without getting hurt. Now it's a little different. Not that I think running backs can't be good kickoff returners now. I just don't think there is a clear archetype that most teams have settled on. I think the Steelers have gone down the road of trying to break a tackle. So if you look at the way the teams are aligned on a kickoff, it's a picket fence, right? And the idea is they sort of all start to advance in line and then kind of shift and come together right when they get close to the ball carrier. Which means if you can get to that line while it's one-on-one and then break a tackle, there's no second layer. In a punt return, people are all coming at you in different waves, right? You have the gunners who come first, and then you have the upbacks who come second, and then you have the guys who are on the line come third. The kickoff return is just one line. So the Steelers' idea has been, if you get somebody who can break a tackle, and you don't have maneuvering room, right, because of the picket fence, so you don't want your jitterbug out there, right? They're just going to get away from this guy and go run right into the next guy over there. But someone that can physically break a tackle, and then that also has that breakaway long speed. So if you break one tackle, then you're through the picket fence, and then you just have to be able to run away from it. That's the idea the Steelers are operating under. I'm not sure that's necessarily the answer to that question. I don't think we have enough information. I know that lots of teams have tried different things in terms of their blocking on kick returns, and I think we're still very much figuring out what works better than other things. So yeah, I mean, I think why that's why furthermore, this fact that the Steelers are using Calvin Austin, their starting wide receiver, as a punt returner, they really don't want him in there getting tackled by. I mean, you still have, even though you've taken away the depth of the running start, you still have big players in there on kickoff because they don't have to cover much grass. Like I said, picket fence. They only have 10 feet between them and the next guy. So I think still generally you want bigger players on a kickoff return, and especially if you're talking about trying to break a tackle, you want bigger players on a kickoff return. But I don't think it's one answer. The NFL leader in kickoff return per return right now, and he only has 10, so that's kind of cheating, is Derek Young from Seattle. He is 6'2", 224. Second is Luke McCaffrey from the Washington Commanders, 6'2", 198. Third is Isaiah Davis, a running back from the New York Jets, 6'1", 220. So, I mean, that does seem to be that you still want a bigger guy in kick return. The top punt returners, at least of people who have more than a few, Marcus Jones is number one. He's with the New England Patriots, 5'8". Torrey Horton, Seattle Seahawks, is a little bit bigger, but very shifty. And then you get guys like Marvin Mims, Gunnar Olszewski, Parker Washington, Jalen Lane. All of these are Jalen Noel. All of these are short wide receivers. Like that is Khalif Raymond is there. Cowan, obviously, because he was hurt, does not have enough returns to qualify for the leaders. I don't know where he would be hit. I don't think he's really broken one this year for the Steelers just yet. But that is the idea between what makes a good kick returner and what makes a good punt returner. I think the Steelers have a really good punt returner in Calvin Austin. I'm not sure if they know what they have at kick return. Obviously, Caleb Johnson wasn't it. I think Kenny Gainwell fits a lot. I think Jalen Warren fits a lot too. And I don't have a problem with using a starting running back there now, because the collision of that play isn't any different than a regular running play is now. Just one more carry for Jalen Warren, basically. I don't think it adds any additional wear and tear beyond that you have to be worried about. I don't know if they have another player down the line that would make a good kickoff returner or not. I think that I'd like to see Roman Wilson there. He is not tall like some of those other guys, but he is very tough and physical for a wide receiver. I think he could break a tackle, and I'd just like to see him get more involved in the team. I know they tried doing that with Caleb Johnson, and it failed spectacularly, so maybe they won't do that, but I would be interested to see Roman Wilson back there a little bit. We'll see. Good question. You continued to ask, so I got you. And yeah, appreciate you always for being a member of the audience. That's all I got for this morning. More right here on YouTube and in your audio feeds. Me and Smitty afternoon drive around 6 o'clock. Let's hope the Steelers get the injury report out a little faster today. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.